these days. Joining me now with a reaction and discussion is former U.S. Acting Attorney General Matthew Whitaker and Mallory Staples, director of the Georgia State Freedom Caucus, and welcome to you both. Mr. Attorney General, so now lying under oath is regarded as, quote, unprofessional, not a crime, so long as a Democrat is doing it, yes?
Yeah, as I read this case from the judge, he actually is very firm, and he also pretty much says that Georgia currently doesn't have the case law for me to do what they're asking me to do. He did make all these findings of being untruthful, being unprofessional, and in fact, he even said that a stench of mendacity hovers around and continues to hover around this case. And to me, that is the death knell for Fani Willis and her office, because, you know, they're not going to get any advantage now that the government typically gets in prosecutions. And it's going to be a very, very difficult case if she continues to remain on it.
Mallory, in the ruling, the judge also said the court, quote, doesn't condone Willis's conduct during the trial or during the investigation, end quote. But she can still go on. So now in Democrats' America, the government no longer has to be of good character. In fact, it appears the dirtier they are, the more coveted and protected they are.
Yeah, this is really a horrifying ruling today, what it means, and we've seen it in other states and in the country, but what it really means is that the law is no longer blind, the law is no longer impartial, and the law is no longer based on facts. And this has been the outcry from the citizenry, the grassroots, conservatives, is that this has all been politically motivated. And Judge McAfee's ruling reflects that, I think, without question, in the fact that he was Kemp appointed, he worked for Kemp as Inspector General, he worked for Fani Willis, he donated to her campaign. This is what Americans are absolutely fed up with. And I think this is really what we're seeing is the deconstruction of our judicial system. This is the harvest on the Obama years, where they planted these district attorneys and DAs, you know, so systematically in our justice system. And again, we do not have an impartial system any longer. And this was perfectly clear from this ruling.
Mr. Attorney General, since the judge dismissed 6 charges in the case against President Trump, including the central charge surrounding Trump's call with the moderate squish Brad Raffensperger, if Fani continues, just what kind of case is she going to have?
Well, it was already weak to start. I mean, this whole racketeering theory is very, very specious and not founded in the law. I mean, it's a case that she took a bunch of pieces and parts, tried to put them together in an overarching conspiracy. It just doesn't exist. And so this case is going to be a slog for her, and especially now that the court has told her that your credibility is shot with me, and I'm not going to take anything you say at face value. I mean, it's going to be a real challenge. But, you know, sometimes there's just not, as it currently stands, this judge was pretty clear, there's not the tools to do what he was being asked to do. But it does not mean that this may present itself in a different way, in a different motion. And he uses that, what he found in this case, as a basis for better relief in the future. So I don't think this is far from over if Fani stays in the case.
Well, before I get to my last question to Mallory, Mr. Attorney General, let me just follow up. Many court observers said that Fani Willis perjured herself. She lied under oath. So do you mean to tell me that a judge has to sit there and take it when a public official lies under oath?
Yeah, well, he doesn't, but that's not what he found. And I don't think that the defense had the tools to do the investigation to actually present the way to impeach her testimony. And so what she said was clearly specious. It was not connected with reality. And he even admits that, you know, they may have lied on the stand, but they just didn't have the countering evidence that they could kind of parse that language right now. But again, it's coming. It's just a matter of, it's probably not right now.
Man. Yeah, I know. I mean, and of course, I talk about Hillary Clinton. You know, you've got James Comey up there saying, you know, we have every indication she broke the law, but no reasonable prosecutor would bring such a case. Then you've got, of course, Hunter Biden and, you know, lying on federal forms. Oh, that's okay. You know, it's Hunter Biden after all. Joe Biden ripping off classified documents for 40 years. Hey, you know what? But now he's, you know, what did Matt Gaetz say? The elevator doesn't go all the way to the top. So, you know what? It's all excused. It's all okay. It makes you wonder what a Democrat has to do in this country to actually get convicted on anything. But Mallory, this ruling doesn't only impact Georgia, but it impacts the entire country and how we're perceived rather around the world. With the left in charge, is it fair to say that justice is dead in America?
Yeah, it certainly feels like that. I mean, in this particular case, Fani Willis has put people in jail, in the Fulton County Jail, with less evidence than they have against her. And so, yes, it very, very much feels this way. This is why these primaries look like they did. Americans get it. They understand that their freedoms are at stake, that this is an all-out assault on our very way of life, and they are not going to take this sitting down. I mean, Americans are not by nature victims. So I think we are getting ready to see a really robust primary season here. I know we certainly will in Georgia, because that is one of the ways that we can fight back, is to replace these people. There is a massive disconnect from the ruling class and the leadership under the dome here in Georgia and how the citizens feel. It is an absolute echo chamber there. They fear losing their positions of power, and rightly so. They should now, because a lot of these people are going to get primary. I mean, for Fani Willis, she has a conservative opponent. Courtney Kramer, one of President Trump's former attorneys, is stepping out to get in that arena. It's not just the Democrat challenger. So this is how we fight back, and they're ready to do that. The people are absolutely rightly feeling threatened, weaponized. The government's weaponized against them.
Yeah, you know what? I can tell you, it happened in Texas. A lot of the conservatives in the base here in Texas took out all these pro-Democrat Republicans. They're running scared for the first time in a long time here anyway. Matthew Whitaker and Mallory Staples, thank you very much. Appreciate the time.